In October 2020, Hazrat Mirza Masroor Ahmad, the fifth Caliph of the Ahmadiyya Muslim Jamaat, graciously granted a virtual mulaqat to the National Amla of Jamaat Ahmadiyya Mauritius. During the meeting, beloved Hazur addressed the National Secretary for Agriculture and said,
"What type of fruits you are going to grow there?"
So we're going to grow bananas, mangoes, lychees.
I think you should give more emphasis on lychees. I like lychees more, so you should plant lychees there more than any other fruit. Okay. And even lychee can get you better income than any other fruit.
Today, we will take you to discover this particular fruit, the Mauritian lychee. Classified in the plantain kingdom in the Sapindaceae family, the lychee is found documented as early as the 11th century in the southeast provinces of China. China is the main producer of this tropical fruit, followed by India. In recent years, Mauritius has made interesting progress in the cultivation and exportation of lychees. Lychees have an inedible, pink-red, leathery skin which is removed before consumption. The flesh is white and surrounds a dark seed in the center. The flesh is normally consumed by many. The thin, though tough skin is green when immature, ripening to red or pink-red, and is smooth or covered with small, sharp protuberances, roughly textured. The peel is inedible, but is easily removed to expose a layer of translucent white flesh around the seed. It has a floral smell and a sweet flavor. The smaller the seed is, the more edible portion of the fruit will be available.
Lychees, it's a tropical fruit. In Mauritius, we imported it from China, mainly. And then, long time back, when the Chinese were coming to Mauritius as migrants, so I think they brought lychees also with them, because they like lychees. So from that on, we have been planting lychees. First, before it was in the backyard. Almost all people were planting lychees, but not everywhere in Mauritius we will get lychees. It depends on the climate and rainfall and all. Just in the region, in this region, we have about 48 orchards of lychees. If you just walk around, you will see lychees everywhere. So people are interested. They are getting more interested in producing lychees because, like Azul said, you earn money with it. Lychees, when it's very ripe, just the point where it has become 100% sweet. When you open the lychees, there is a smell of lychees which is, you can't get it anywhere, not even in a perfume or nothing. It's just typical lychees perfume. When you smell it, and then when you taste the lychees, it is heaven.
The lychee comes from an evergreen tree that is frequently less than 15 meters tall, but sometimes reaching 28 meters high.
I had a passion. When I was a small kid, my father used to bring us, me and my brothers and sisters, to orchards where they are selling lychees. Lychees, it is a tropical fruit, and Mauritius is a tropical island, and we have tropical climate, and it suits the climate, the amount of rainfall, and the weather, the temperature. it suits lychees very well. So whenever we get lychees, we get it plenty and quite tasty, very sweet. Like Azu said, one of the best lychees in the world is from Mauritius. We have 2-3 different types of lychees, but the Mauritian lychees is known as Mauritian lychees. There is no name except, even in America, in Florida, you see that they sell lychees. One of them is called Mauritian lychees. I bought a book from the Ministry of Agriculture giving advice how to deal with it, how to plant, how many trees to plant. And there was one paragraph where it was written, if you don't have water, don't plant lychees. After planting the lychees, then I realized that, when the lychees, the flower has already opened and the lychees are coming out, it's very important to put water to irrigate the trees, because the flowers, lychees, they have male and female flowers. It is only the females that will become lychees, and it is only the bees that do the pollination from the male flower to the female flower, pollen. So then lychees, the female flower will become lychees only on 3 conditions. First, there is pollination, then there should be water, and number 3, there should be no heavy rainfall and wind, because then the flowers will fall down, so you will not get lychees.
Did you know a 100-gram serving of fresh lychees provides the following nutrients: 66 calories, 0.8 grams proteins, 16.5 grams carbs, 15.2 grams sugar, 1.3 grams fiber, fat 0.4 grams.
In a good season, one tree can produce about 60 to 100 kilos of lychees, and sometimes more. In Mauritius, the harvest is not same time, same moment, and same time for everybody. Like in the north, the lychees get ready a bit earlier. So maybe by the end of November or third week of November, they start selling lychees. But because it is the first lychees coming out, it's expensive also. Then for me, my orchard, by first week of December, the lychees started getting ready. And by 15 December, I think maybe up to 20 December, we have sold all our lychees. There are some exporters. I'm not an exporter, but there are some Mauritians who export lychees to Europe, France, England, Germany. And they have already, since long time they were exporting, they have their own contact, they have their own command, so they have to search lychees all around Mauritius, collect the lychees and send to Europe. I sell to local sellers. They come and buy some lychees from me, sometimes 100 kilo, 200 kilo or 300 kilos. They come, they pick the lychees themselves, then they go and sell it, and then after 2-3 days they will come back and buy some more lychees. Since I started planting lychees, I started getting problem with thieves. First, there was no fencing. It was just an open land with lychees. Many times I have to come and plant again, buy some trees and plant again. That was the first problem. When all the lychees are finished, we have sold all the lychees. Then the main thing is to do pruning. Pruning is that you have to cut all the branches which are going out of the way or going to the ground. And also I was advised by 2 Australian experts. They grow lychees in Australia. not to let the trees become too high, because in Mauritius we have a problem of bats. So if the trees are too high, we have to put nets to prevent the bats from eating the lychees. And we are not supposed to kill the bats because they are protected and they are unique in Mauritius. The bat we have is unique in Mauritius. So the wildlife animal, they are protecting the bats. So they advise us to let the trees remain low, and then it's easy for us to put the nets to remove also. And at the same time, we don't have to kill the bats because then they are protected. Somebody told me that all through the year, the birds, they have a work to do for the orchard. You know, on top of the trees, there are small worms. So they eat the birds, they eat the worms, so the trees remain clean. All the work start immediately after harvest. What we have to do first is to do pruning. We have to cut the trees to make it remain low, not to grow up too high. It's difficult for us to protect the lychees from bats, difficult for us to put nets, difficult to remove the nets. So first thing first is we have to cut the trees if they are becoming too high and let them remain low. And then we have to put manure, fertilizer. The fertilizer has to be put 3 or 4 times in 1 year. The first time is immediately 1 month after harvest. We have to put the manure. Then irrigation. We have to do irrigation if there is no rain.
Among the countless blessings of Allah, this is one worth tasting: the Mauritian lychee.